Tonight. Well, this was the evening, wasn't it, that this general election campaign actually really got going after a relatively slow start. Well, you can't say that about it any longer, can you? Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer clashing repeatedly in the first head-to-head leadership debate of this election campaign tonight. They are just wrapping up the debate on ITV, but we've already had a number of things that I want to get into with you. Arguments, heated debates, discussions, personal attacks and everything from the NHS, small boats, social care to Keir Starmer's record as a lawyer, Rishi Sunak's record, of course, as Prime Minister. It was pretty heated at times. It was pretty feisty. It was pretty robust. Did either of them come out on top, do you think? I'm not sure they did. I am not sure they did. I thought Keir Starmer was relatively cool and collected, but failed to land any real blows on the Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak, far more combative, far more on the front foot, firing barb after barb at Keir Starmer and the Labour leader, not necessarily deflecting all of them in the way that he might have done. But ultimately, I don't think any massive damage was done to Keir Starmer and Labour tonight. And ultimately, that means that Keir Starmer comes out of this the winner. Doesn't have to excel, doesn't have to smash it out of the park, doesn't have to blow the audience away. All he needs to do, given the state of the polls, is not mess up. And tonight he didn't mess up. So I think Labour will be happy. Was it a sterling performance from the Keir Starmer? No. Was it an exceptional performance from Rishi Sunak? Don't think it was either, to be honest. I expect a lot of people watching that debate thinking, really, is this the best they've got? But given the state of the polls, I say again, I think that is advantage Keir Starmer after first debate. But I wonder what you think. 0345 6060 973. What did you make of Rishi Sunak laying into the Labour leader, saying he's got no plan, he's got no ideas? What did you make of Keir Starmer insisting that the Prime Minister is ashamed of the past 14 years and desperately trying to get away with it from it? Were you satisfied with their answers on the NHS? Were you happy with their answers on tax? What did you make of what they had to say on defence and social care? If you watched the debate, if you've heard any of it, if you've seen any of it, pick up the phone, give me a ring. 0345 6060 973. All your reaction to come on what they did say. Interested too if you thought there was a glaring omission in what they didn't. That there was an issue that didn't come up. That you really wanted Keir Starmer to say something that he didn't. That you really wanted to see a certain something from Rishi Sunak, but didn't. We'll talk to the parties, we'll talk to experts, we'll get the Snap opinion poll all within the next hour, but I most want to hear from you tonight. You. It's us that matters, isn't it? It's us voters that matter. Doesn't matter what the pundits think, doesn't matter what the studio audience think, doesn't matter what the spin doctors say. All that matters really is whether the past hour and a bit changed anyone's mind and changed anyone's vote. That number again, 0345 6060 973. Come to your calls very shortly. We'll hear from a Cabinet Minister and a Labour Shadow Cabinet Minister in the next 15 minutes or so. Let's kick off our conversation tonight, though, with Natasha Clark, LBC's political editor, who joins us live from the debate room up in Salford. Natasha, great to have you on the programme. Big night in this, big moment in this election campaign. What did you make of it?
Good evening, Ben. Tetchy, that's the one word that I think I'm going to be taking away from this debate. Apologies for the noise. We're live at the back of the spin room in ITV studios in Salford here today, and everybody is going to get in full swing for the spin to start. I thought, essentially, obviously, for the Prime Minister, he had much more to gain, and very much, of course, seemed like he was on the attack. The ITV host, Julie Etchingham, had to intervene several times to get order in the room. Sunak, in particular, was really, I thought, riling the audience up. I thought tax dominated absolutely at that hour-long clash. The Prime Minister repeatedly insisting that Starmer is going to raise taxes and trying to ask him what he would do differently in a bid to try and poke holes in Labour's plans. But Starmer, on the other hand, focused his attacks on the Tories' 14 years of failure in government, calling Sunak's plans insulting and childish too. It got very personal as well, I thought. Starmer said Sunak was betting against the country when he worked for a hedge fund during the financial crisis. And Sunak, on the other hand, accused Starmer of representing extremists when he was a human rights lawyer. Both sides, I thought, getting very, very tetchy. In terms of what did we learn, I don't think too much. Rishi Sunak said he would use private healthcare if a family member was languishing on a waiting list. Starmer said, on the other hand, he would not. Keir Starmer also admitting for the first time he would look at third-party third country partnerships to send migrants to, despite previously attacking that Rwanda plan. But Sunak was laughed at by his plan for national service. That was a really interesting moment, I thought. Crucially, Ben, I don't know if this is going to really shift the dial for anyone and shift those very stubborn polls. I think we're going to watch this space. Both sides landed a few blows, had a few nice sound bites. This will be one of their key opportunities to talk to people up and down the country, but I'm not sure it's really going to shift the dial.
It was interesting, isn't it? Because normally in these debates you have the Prime Minister trying to act prime ministerial, trying to stay calm, trying to sort of not go on the attack too much. You've got the leader of the opposition desperately trying to land any blow they can. And in this debate, Natasha, because of the state of the polls and because Rishi Sunak has far more to gain than lose, and vice versa for Keir Starmer, the roles were sort of reversed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you saw that from the Prime Minister. He was visibly and notably, I think, more on the attack. He was, I think, a little bit tetchier. I think he was a little bit more aggressive. He came across as a little bit punchier than Keir Starmer.
Yep.
Keir Starmer repeatedly had to lower his voice, try and lower his tone and try and appear a little bit more, trying to rise above some of these attacks that the Prime Minister was trying to land on him. I don't know how many of those attacks really did land on Keir Starmer or Rishi Sunak either way, but it's clear that obviously Rishi Sunak, he's got more to gain from this. Obviously Labour doing quite a lot better in the polls than him at the moment, so he's got more to go, and he really did throw everything at it. I think Keir Starmer, on the other hand, was a little bit nervous at the start. He appeared that he obviously had to stand up really and do very little to get through this debate, but he appeared more nervous. I think he looked into the wrong camera at the start, but by the end he did seem like he'd settled into the swing of it. He had to lower his voice several times, but did he do enough to dazzle the audience? I'm not sure that he really did.
I guess he doesn't need to, as you've been just saying, Natasha. He doesn't need to dazzle, he doesn't need to excel. He just needs to get through it, not mess up. It's Rishi Sunak that really needs to land something extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And obviously, Rishi Sunak's playbook tonight was trying to poke holes in Labour's plan. I think he did succeed in trying to sow a little bit of doubt, I think, amongst the audience about really, can you really trust this guy? Is this really the guy? And I think Sunak came across quite confident. I think, like I say, Starmer at the start was quite nervous when he first come up on that stage. And let's not forget, Rishi Sunak has done these leadership debates before. Keir Starmer hasn't. And I think that was apparent between the two men in this very important clash. But this isn't the last time we're going to see the two go up head to head against each other. Will it be enough to shift those polls? I'm really not sure. We're going to have to wait and see. I think both sides landing a few blows, but no killer knockout blow from either side, I don't think.
I suspect, as always, Natasha, you are spot on with that. Thank you. Talk to you later. Natasha Clark, LBC's political editor. I don't think this will change anything fundamentally, but